Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Aaron if you're new here, and if you are a current subscriber returning to watch any of my videos, I really do appreciate it. So let's get right into Lord of the Rings of Power, Episode 5. So I watched it last night. My thoughts are basically this for this episode. I liked it, but it was somewhat disappointing. If you watched my last review, I said that I feel like the show is really taking its time setting things up, and I just really want it to get going, into the story, into the battles, into what's going on. I feel like this episode was a step closer, okay, we are on the path now to something important, some kind of action, some kind of battle, something. We have different forces working together to defeat evil. But at the same time, even though it's getting going, it still felt like, come on, let's go. So I'm really hoping, this is episode 5, so I'm really hoping the next episode will finally get moving. I think we will, honestly. I'll be pretty disappointed if we don't. That being said, this episode I did enjoy. Lots of talking, not much action. There's this one little action scene set in the town square where these people are training to fight in hand-to-hand combat, which I guess is the only kind of combat they had back then, besides shooting arrows at one another. So anyhow, there was this unnecessary scene with Galadriel, her showing off her fighting ability, and I get it, and I thought the scene was fun and lighthearted, and I thought the choreography was pretty good. If you broke it down in slow motion, I'm sure you could find flaws, but it was fun and entertaining. I just don't understand, it felt like she was shoehorned. She was shoe. Wow. It felt like she was. I can't say it. Let's try again. It felt like she was shoe. Okay. It felt like Galadriel was shoehorned in. There we go. To this scene just to show that,
Oh, I'm a woman and I know how to fight.
Why? We've already seen it. You don't need to do it again. And that's how it came across instead of a natural feeling in this scene. It felt very forced. We've already seen her do this type of thing, so I don't know why we need another scene that's forced to show her do this. Yes, the scene was entertaining and fun, but at the same time, I just felt it was unnecessary. I'm growing to Isildur a little bit more. I find his character a little bit more interesting. In, what was it, episode 2 or 3, I was I don't really care about him at all. So, also, Pharazôn. I said in my last review that he creeps me out, and he does, but I was also intrigued to, what he's doing, what's going on, because you can tell he's planning something, and he's, manipulative, and in this episode, we see a little bit more of that. We get a little bit more of a look at his plan, and I found that really interesting too. As far as our theories go for Halbrand being Sauron, I really don't think he is. I felt like he showed too much emotion when people weren't around for him to be Sauron and keeping up an act, because why would you need to continue this act when no one's there? You know what I mean? So I really don't feel that he's Sauron. Also, in the trailers we saw, there was one scene where he's in jail and he walks up to the bars, and I remember thinking, wow, he looks a lot like Aragorn. In this story so far, it kind of is Aragorn-esque, he's running from his heritage. He's afraid of becoming the king that he should be, that sort of thing. There are some scenes in this episode where he looks so much like Aragorn, it's ridiculous. You would think they were trying to cast a young Viggo Mortensen, I think that's how you pronounce his name, someone to play a young version of him. I don't know if that was purposeful, but whatever it was very interesting, and I keep looking over there because I have a picture of Aragorn running with the ghost army behind him, so. But yeah, That was interesting as well. The Harfoots, they are really obnoxious. But we spent more time with the stranger, the guy that fell out of the comet, or fell in the comet. Yeah, that's more like it. So there's more time spent on him instead of the Harfoots themselves, which I liked because I find his character very intriguing and I want to know who he is, what's going on, and we kind of get to discover that with him as well. We see some new powers that he has. I really don't know if he's Gandalf or not. I really don't know, but it will be interesting to see where they go and if they give us any answers in this season because there's only a few episodes left. In my last few reviews, I kept saying I couldn't remember the elf dude's name, which is funny because it's pronounced Arendelle, I believe. It's basically the spelling of my name with one less A and then Del added onto it. So I don't know why I can never remember it, but I'm trying to remember it. He didn't do very much in this episode, so this episode is very preppy. And what I mean by that is everyone's preparing for the doom to come, you know? So I liked that. Adar, there's a scene, and this is mild spoilers, so I'll throw up the spoiler here and then put it away when I'm done. But basically, there's this scene with Adar, and this one guy calls him Sauron because he thinks he is Sauron. And Adar, like, flips out. And he seems very upset. Almost like his pride is offended or something. I had two thoughts going through my head. One is he Sauron and he's upset that someone figured it out? Or is he really not Sauron and wants people to give him the respect that he has, you know, quote unquote, earned and not give it all to Sauron? Like kind of like,
yeah, I'm leading this army. You know, this is my work. This isn't Sauron. Sauron's somewhere in the background. I'm the one doing the hard work here.
Like, and that his pride was offended by that or something. So I'm not really sure. They don't really explain. They kind of left that open ended. I'm sure I'm forgetting something else. I will say that the musical score in this episode really stood out to me. I really liked it. It may have been because I was watching it on a different TV and with surround sound, so that may have helped a little bit. I did feel like it stood out more, like, musically, like the themes and things like that. Durin is honestly becoming one of my favorite characters. I think he's funny. I love his just personality, even though in real life I think it would be super annoying. But I liked that whole aspect of this episode with the elves and the dwarves. Lots of tension between Elrond and Gil-galad, but also between Gil-galad and Durin. So I found that whole trifecta very, very engaging, and I was really like, this is good writing, this is good storytelling. So I liked that a lot. Also, Gil-galad I found to be a much more interesting character. I really like him a lot in this episode, and I would love to see more of him in future episodes. He seems very noble, very, you know, he seems like an elf, like how we picture them, like how Elrond later becomes. It just felt very Tolkien-esque. So yeah, I thought this episode was good. I'm excited for episode 6. It looks like there's going to be a good amount of action in it. Really hope it gets the story going. I feel like we've covered all the bases as far as setup goes, you know? Like, let's get into the meat of this story. If you saw it, what are your thoughts? Comment below. I'd be very interested in reading them. If you'd like to see further reviews for the episodes of Rings of Power, make sure to subscribe to my channel and like this video as well. I would very much appreciate it. If you'd like to also see my previous episode reviews for this show and other things to do with Middle-earth, you can check out my Middle-earth playlist, which I will put in the description below. Alright, thanks for watching. I hope you come back and see me in my next review for episode 6 of The Rings of Power. Goodbye.